कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study circle, and today we are in the 29th session of our journey in studying Bhagavad Gita, and I dedicate this session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON and my beloved spiritual master. So, very interestingly, in the last couple of sessions we have seen that how Arjuna has asked few questions to Krishna about which is better, karma or jnana, and Krishna very nicely is explaining that how we need to do our karma, there is no escaping from our karma, we need to do our activity, right? And with the same line of thought, Krishna is going to further give some more details on how we need to perform our actions. So in today's session, let's begin with verse number 8, and yes, Neena Mataji can unmute yourself and please repeat this shloka. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyayo hi akarmanah Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhayeda karmanah. Wonderful. Once again, niyatam guru karmatvam karma jyayo hya karmanah Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhayeda karmana. Wonderful. Translation. Perform your prescribed duty. For doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Thank you, Mother. So here, this is a very interesting shloka, and here Krishna is saying that Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam. So Krishna here is talking about Niyatam Karmaha. What is Niyatam Karma? Let's understand this. So Niyatam, Prabhupada translates this as prescribed. Prescribed duty. Niyatam Karma means prescribed duty. So what is prescribed duty? What do we know or understand about prescribed duty? So it's very important to know what is Niyatam Karma for us. Niyatam Karma means certain default inclinations that we all have by our past karmas. See, when we all take birth, based on our past karmas, we have acquired a certain guna. When we take birth, we come with certain default inclinations. Just like when you open your computer, there are certain default programs that get started automatically. So similarly, there are certain default inclinations each one of us have when we take birth. And knowing and understanding these default inclinations is extremely important in society. And that's why Krishna, being the Supreme Creator, He has created, there is something called as Varna, Varnashrama. So there are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. So Krishna, when He creates this world, He also creates this world in such a way that there is perfect law and order, there is perfect system. So in the society, Krishna has given us this Varna system. What are the 4 Varnas? The 4 Varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So this is a very scientific process and the scientific way of dividing the society so that there is peace in the society. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varna Maya Shrishtam Gunakarma Vibhagasa. So this creation of Chatur Varna is actually coming from Krishna. So anything that comes from Krishna is perfect. Anything that comes from Krishna is all beneficial. But unfortunately, when we don't take Krishna's instruction and we try to do our own things, that is when there is a lot of chaos in the society, and that's exactly what's happening today. Because we don't follow the system given by Krishna, this Varnashrama system, there is so much of problem. Why? Because we need to understand what is this Varna referred to. Very beautifully in the scripture it is said that these 4 Varnas are very scientific. Just like when you take this whole body, this human body, there are different parts. So Brahmana refers to the head region of the body. The Kshatriyas, they refer to the arms of the body. And the Vaishyas, the business class, they refer to the belly of the body. And the Shudras, the working class, they refer to the legs of the body. So now, all of them are important, right? Each one of them is important. We cannot say that, oh, I want the head, I don't want the legs, I don't want the belly. Each one of them is important. But the most important of all these different parts is the head. Because if you chop off the head, then the whole body collapses, right? And that's exactly what's happening today in the society. There is no head part. There are no Brahmanas. And because there are no Brahmanas, the whole society is collapsing because there is no one to direct. The direction for the body comes from the head. When the direction is not coming, then the body becomes useless. It becomes paralyzed. And today's society is paralyzed because there are no intellectual class of people who are trying to direct this society. It's all hodgepodge. So that's why this is a very scientific process we should know, and we should try to take this Varnashrama system and reintroduce this Varnashrama system back into the society. In fact, Prabhupada says that 50% of my work is undone. It's because I have not still created this Varnashrama system. It was a very strong, intense desire of Prabhupada that he wanted to establish Varnashrama system. Because he knows once people fit into this Varnashrama system, then there will be wonderful things happening in the society. In the Purusha Sukta also, this is very beautifully explained. It is said that Brahmano Mukamasi Bahu Rajanyak Kritaha Urutat Asyad Vaishyaha Padbhyagam Shudro Ajayata. It means that Mukhadindrashagnischa. It is said Brahmano Mukamasi. Brahmanas refer to the Lord's mouth. That's why it is said that, if you want to please the Lord Vishnu, you have to feed the Brahmanas. And that's why Brahmanas are also called as Brahmana Bhojana Priya. Now, a Brahmana should not be a Brahmana just because he wants to eat a lot of things. He should also do Patana, Patana, Yajana, Yajana, Dana, Pratigraha. He has to study, he has to give knowledge, he has to accept donations, he has to give donations. So all this is a part of the Brahmanical culture. And what is this Brahmanical culture referring to? It is referring to the head, the Mukhamasi. It refers to the mouth of the Lord Vishnu. Then Bahu Rajanya Kritaha. All the Kshatriyas, they are represented by the Lord's arms. Right? Uru Tat Asyad Vaishyaha. Uru means the belly region. The belly region of the Lord is represented by the Vaishyas, the business class. They maintain the society. And then Padbhyagam Shudro Ajayata, which means that the Lord's foot, the Lord's legs are represented by the Shudras. All of them are extremely important. Everybody is important, but the head region is the most important. We need a lot of Brahmanas in the society. But now, in today's culture, in today's time and age, we have seen it has completely collapsed. In fact, there is no Varnashrama system. After the British rule, this whole Varnashrama system took another very ugly phase, which is called today's caste system. So this caste system was introduced, and this was completely misunderstood Varnashrama. Today we see that this caste system has come about not based on a person's guna, default inclinations, but by birthright. Somebody is born in a Brahmana family, he becomes a Brahmana. Somebody is just born in a Kshatriya family, he is called a Kshatriya. So this is not the way that we divide the society. And if you carefully observe, even today the society has these four varnas. It is not a caste system. Please understand, you go to any part of the world, you will find these four class of people. You go to America, you will find Brahmanas. There are intellectuals there, philosophers there. There are Kshatriyas, there are people who are administrators, and there are a lot of, there is a huge army, and there is also business class of people, and there is also the working class of people. So these four classes of people are existing in each and every part of the world. It's just that it has to be organized in a nice way, and that's why it will be called as Daiva Varnashrama. Daiva Varnashrama means it is not simply dividing the society into Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but it is dividing based on Bhakti. Bhakti to Lord Vishnu. That is called Daiva Varnashrama, and Prabhupada had this intense desire. So there is a small attempt that we are trying to do in Mayapur, where Mayapur is one place where we want to create at least one village which is nicely following the Varnashrama system as given by Krishna in the scriptures. So it is very extremely important. Now, because of no niyatam karma, what is happening is there is no proper education. So what's happening is when children are born with certain inclinations, but then they are sent to schools, and then the teachers don't identify their natural inclination. Neither the parents, they try to understand the natural inclination of the child. So each child is just going and writing exams and trying to take up some degree and finally get a job. So what's happening is a child has a default inclination for painting, but he ends up becoming a software engineer. He wants to become a lawyer, he wants to become an administrator, but then he is asked to take orders from someone else. So what's happening is there is a conflict. When there is a mismatch between a person's guna and a person's karma, it will create havoc in the society. It's a very disturbing situation. And people, no matter how much money they earn, they are dissatisfied because there is no match between their inclinations and the work they do. And that's the conflict. So people cannot become happy. So that is why our Varnashrama system was very beautifully, scientifically designed so that everybody remains very happy. But you see, today's politicians, although they take up the position of Kshatriyas. Kshatriya, what does it mean? Kshatriya, Kshatrayate iti Kshatriya. One who gives protection to the Praja is actually called Raja. A Raja is supposed to protect the Praja, right? But then today Kshatriyas, forget about protecting, they are actually looting the people. Looting the Praja. So they are not called the Raja. The politicians are totally screwed up. So they are not the Kshatriyas. And then similarly with the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are neither trained, neither they have the power to direct the Kshatriyas. See, earlier the Kshatriyas were actually directed by the Brahmanas. But today that system is not there. The Kshatriyas, the politicians are just doing things as whimsically as they want to do. There is no proper direction coming from the Brahmanas. Because Brahmanas are the ones who know the welfare of the society. So although they don't directly rule the society, but they direct the Kshatriyas. But that system is collapsed today, unfortunately. But in Vedic times, the Vedic people were very, very happy and contented. Why? Because they had that dignity of labor. But today people don't have that dignity of labor. It's all about transactions. It's all about give and take. It's not about following your passions. It's not about what you love to do. But in Vedic times, people did what they really loved to do, and also they had a certain passion, and that inclination was nicely fanned. But that system is not there today. So unfortunate, right? So we should do our niyatam karma, and when we try to do something which is not our niyatam karma, then it's a waste of time, it's a waste of resource. There's a very beautiful story that comes in Mahabharata. There was this very great sage called Jajali Muni. So this Jajali Muni had done a lot of tapasya, and when once he finished his tapasya, he was sitting under a tree, and then he sees that there are these two birds, a male bird and a female bird, which start hovering above his head, and they start picking up some straws and they try to make a nest above his head because he had those matted hair, so they found it very comfortable and cozy to stay upon his head. So Jajali Muni thought, oh, these birds are taking shelter of my head, so why not give them certain shelter? So he stood like a tree, and these birds, they started staying on top of his head. And time passed by, then there were chicks, the small birdlings or whatever you call them. So the eggs were hatched, and then the birdlings came out, and all that is happening on top of his head. Can you imagine? And Jajali Muni, he is so careful not to disturb them. He is standing all the time over there without disturbing anyone. And it went on, time passed by, and it was quite some time. It was almost about more than a year, that he was standing like a tree. And then finally, the birdlings, they grew up and then they flew away, and then the male bird and the female bird, they also flew away. And now this Jajali Muni was thinking, oh, I'm such a great tapasvi. He had that pride in him that, yes, I did so good thing for these birds. And just then, when he was thinking like that, the same birds who were actually staying on top of him, they came and told Jajali Muni that you are not a great person. You know, the great person is there in Kashi. His name is Tuladhara. He is much better than you in performing their own duties. Now, this Jajali Muni was shocked to hear this. He was already having that pride of his own tapasya, but the very same birds are telling that he is not better, but there is someone else who is much better than him. So now he was enraged and he was thinking that I should go and meet this person, Tuladhara, and understand how can this person be greater than me. And that is how this Tuladhara, this Jajali Muni, he goes to Kashi and then he finds this Tuladhara. This Tuladhara, moment he sees Jajali Muni, he very nicely welcomes him and talks to him very nicely. And then Jajali Muni was surprised, hey, how do you know that I was coming? Then Tuladhara says, yes, the birds told me that you are going to come. Oh, is it so? Then Jajali Muni says, the birds told me that you are much better than me in performing duties. And then Tuladhara says that how he is just a simple vendor, a vegetable vendor. So he says that anybody who comes to me, whether it is a grown-up child, a small child, anybody, a businessman, a woman, or anybody who comes and takes any vegetable from me, I do it with niyatam karmaha. I do it with very minimal profit, just as much as I need for maintaining my body, and I don't take anything extra from them, and I don't cheat anybody. I do my karma like this, and I'm doing this since long time. And then, oh, if that is so, then how do you become greater than me? And then Tuladhara explains to Jajali Muni, he says that, Muni, you are a Brahmana, and as a Brahmana, you are supposed to do Brahminical things. You spent more than a year standing like a tree, which you could have actually used for gaining a lot of knowledge and done even more tapasya. But you were standing like a tree. I am doing my work as a Vaishya very nicely, but you as a Brahmana failed to do so. You did not understand that if you were not there, the birds could have still found another tree and they would have built their nest. But you simply wasted your time, a valuable time in the Brahminical body. You see? So we have to be very careful when we try to do certain things. Of course, compassion is important. We need to show compassion. But it is not like if Jajali Muni was not there, the birds wouldn't have found any other place to stay and build their nest. They could have still found another tree. But Jajali Muni, out of his pride for his tapasya, he stood there like a tree. So a Brahmana is not supposed to do that. You see? So similarly, now the question is to all of you, what is your default inclination? Have you identified your default inclination? It's extremely difficult to do something which is not as per your inclination, your guna. Right? So have you ever tried that, at least try to know that what is your default inclination, and are you doing that? Because when I was working, I worked very briefly for LG Electronics before I joined the temple. But then you see, it was so difficult for me to work there, and the kind of work pressure and the kind of thing, of course I did not live for work pressure alone, but just the overall system, the corporate life is so draining. I mean, it really drains you out. You can't work on and on with people who are so greedy and they are so self-centered, and you are surrounded by them. You just cannot live with them. It's so difficult. And they are having a different passion altogether. So then that was one a major force, a reason why I thought that no, this is something that is not in line with my guna and karma. I have to do something, and I had to do what my passion was, and my passion was to serve the mission of Prabhupada, and I'm here today with all of you. You see? So, similarly, have you identified now your inclinations? If not, then it's the right time to know what is your inclination, and at least the rest of your life you can try to practice and do work as per your inclination, and that way you will be satisfied. Otherwise there is a mismatch, right? Especially Dave, because since he's quite young, he should identify his inclination, and I hope he identifies it quickly. He should know what is his natural default inclination. Yes, actually if we carefully observe, it is possible to identify our varna. You know the best way? Actually there are multiple ways in which the varnas can be defined. One thing is by astrology. See, when a person is born, when a child is born, in the Jata karma, in the Kundali, you know, there is a process of understanding the varna. The varna is given along with your other nakshatra and other rashi and other things. There is also the description of varna. That is one way of knowing, as per your astrological calculation, to understand and know our varna. Second thing is, another way is to find out based on what you do in your free time, in your leisure time. So if you carefully observe and be little thoughtful about your activities during your leisure time. So let me give you an example. A person in his leisure time, if he is reading a lot of books, he is trying to gain a lot of knowledge, he is wanting to know certain bigger aspects of life, then since he is using his leisure time for all these things, his natural inclination is he is a Brahmana. He is the intellectual class. And on the other hand, if there is someone in his leisure time, he is heavily working out and he is taking care of his body, he is trying to practice some archery, or he is trying to practice some fighting skills. Of course, in today's time there is no one who will try to find out that, but then he tries to understand the administrative things that are happening in the world, how the world is running, how politicians are working. If he is having certain inclination towards that, then he is a Kshatriya class. And at the same time, there are people who use their leisure time for increasing their wealth. They are constantly thinking how to increase and manage the wealth. And here we have Achyutanji. He can guide people there who wants to increase their wealth. So as a financial guru, he can help people to increase their wealth. So there are people who are constantly thinking, how can I invest, how can I do this, how can I do that and increase my wealth. So they are the Vaishya class of people. And if people are using their leisure time just for fun, who are either frustrated and they are bored and doing nothing, they are lazy and they are just sleeping, then they are Shudra class of people. And in Kali Yuga, it is said that everyone by default is a Shudra. By default is a Shudra. So we have to acquire the other qualities. So now the important thing is, please identify your varna. Try to see what do you do in your leisure time. It's extremely important. Very, very important. Because that will keep you happy, but if you simply do what the society is imposing on you, then you will not be driven by your passion, you will be driven by people's passion. And that conflict will keep you dissatisfied. So please identify your varna, it's extremely important. Okay, so now with this briefly discussing about Varnashrama, we are definitely going to discuss more about Varnashrama in the future, because we will try to practically see how this Varnashrama is scientific process, and we can have a very nice comparative analysis of Varnashrama communist kind of ruling and also the socialist kind of ruling. So we will understand Varnashrama system from different angles, and you will see that Varnashrama will always have a upper hand. And we will understand how Varnashrama impacts economy. We will understand how Varnashrama impacts the social life. We will understand how Varnashrama affects the defense system of the country, how Varnashrama also deals with the social problems, and many more things like that. So Varnashrama is a very scientific process. So we will see and understand this more as we go forward in our discussion. Okay. So yes, now Krishna, when he's talking about doing karma, he's also talking also about how to perform karma here, and Sharira yatra pichate. He's saying that even to maintain this material body, we need to work. It's not that simply I sit quiet and everything will be provided to me. No, even to maintain this body, I have to work. Just like the king of the jungle, lion. It's not that, oh, I'm the king of the jungle, the rabbit will come and fall in my mouth. No. Although he is the king of the jungle, he has to go and hunt and find his food, right? So, just like that, we need to work. But now, there are people who think that work is all in all. And I am doing work, I am getting all the results. So, this is called karmavad. Karmavad means it's my actions and my results, everything is revolving around me. I have to sustain myself, I have to work. There is another class of people who are called Daivavad. Daivavad means, oh, let me not work. Anyway, whatever is there in our karma, in our fate, that will come. So, why should I work? Let me not work. So, this is Daivavad. Everything depending on the higher nature, the destiny. So, both are extreme. Karmavad and Daivavad, both are extreme. We need to balance. We need to do karma, at the same time, we need to depend on higher forces. I had given this example earlier of the farmer. The farmer does his karma by sowing the seed, but at the same time, he still has to depend on the rain. Rains are not in his control. Right? And also kala, time. It's not that the seed is sown and the rains come and next day he will get the crops. He has to wait. The time is there. So similarly, Karmavada and Daivavada both are extremes. We need to have a balance between both of them. Right? So now, the question may come to all of you, Prabhuji, alright, we have to do this work, but Krishna is saying that you have to work, but you have to not get attached to the results. But if I am not going to get the results of my action, then where are the results going? To whom should I give this result? The question may come, right? कि हम तो कर्म कर रहे हैं, बट कर्म का फल जो है वो उनको नहीं लेना है, बट फल जो आएगा तो किसको देना है? हाँ, तो फल का जो फल है कर्म का, we have to give it to someone. To whom we have to give, that is said by Krishna in the next word. So let's see what Krishna says in the next word. Very important word. So Achyutanji, unmute yourself and let's discuss this. Yagnatha karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. Once again, Yagnatha karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. Wonderful. Translation: work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. Thank you. So this is a very interesting formula and secret that Krishna is sharing. Krishna is sharing a secret of how we can become unentangled by the reaction of our karma. And how is that possible? Yajnatha karmanonyatra. We need to perform our actions for performing yajna. So, in the Upanishadic language, yajna also refers to Vishnu. Yajno vai Vishnuhu. It is said that yajna is directly Vishnu himself. There is no difference between this word yajna and Vishnu. Very important to understand. That means when we perform our actions, we have to perform actions for Vishnu. Yajna means voluntarily you are taking sacrifice. You are taking up some sacrifice. That is yajna. So when you sacrifice the results of your action for Vishnu, that is called yajna. And by performing this yajna, what will happen? Then you will become free from the bondage. When you do your activities for the satisfaction of Vishnu, yajna, then there is no bondage. But the same action when you perform for your own sense gratification, then there is a problem. You will get bound more and more. So without sacrifice, it will bind you. But when you sacrifice, then it is liberating you. It will give you more and more liberation from the bondage. I will give you some very important examples here. Please listen to this very carefully. For example, now, there is a person who is a devotee. Now, for example, Hina Mataji is cooking every day. But now she is cooking because she wants to please Krishna. So now, there is a nice vegetable biryani that you like, and you are cooking that vegetable biryani not just for your own sense gratification, but now you are thinking, oh, let me today offer this vegetable biryani to Krishna. There is another person who is your neighbor who is also preparing vegetable biryani, but their idea is, their intention is, let me enjoy vegetable biryani today. I will have a nice taste of vegetable biryani. So now what's happening is, the action, if you see externally, Hina Mataji and the neighbor, both of them are actually preparing the vegetable biryani. So externally the action is the same, but the intentions are different. One is to please Krishna, another is to please themselves. Right? So you see, cooking itself can become an yajna. Cooking itself is an act of sacrifice. Cooking itself is such a nice process of bhakti. You see? And then, similarly getting ready. For example, every day you're getting ready. Now, one thing is, when you get ready, you may think that yes, I will go to the temple, and when Krishna looks at me with this nice tilak and nice dress, so Krishna will be pleased. When I nicely, beautifully get decorated, Krishna will be pleased by this. But there is another person who dresses and does a lot of makeup and everything else, not to please Krishna, but to please the mundane people of this world and get some cheap adoration from these people. So, you see, the intentions are different even in getting ready. So similarly, there is a person who is giving a class. For example, now, if I think that, oh, let me give this session, I know a little bit of Bhagavad Gita, and when I speak a lot of Bhagavad Gita and chant some shlokas, people will think that, oh yes, I am a very great person. If I am doing with this intention, then it is a wrong thing. It is not yajna. But now if I think that yes, I am doing this session because Krishna will be pleased, Prabhupada will be pleased. When I think in that way and I do this, then okay, so this becomes yajna. Similarly, a person is a singer, a very good singer, but he sings not to glorify the Lord, but he's singing to glorify some mundane people and get some cheap adoration from people. Then that is not yajna. You see, externally, the actions can be same. Lot of people do lot of things which are externally same, but internally intentions matter. And Krishna is more interested in the intentions and not simply your externals, because that is what he wants. Your bhava. He looks at your bhava, your devotion, your bhakti. And that is when Krishna notices that bhakti in you, your intentions, he will free you from the bondage of the reactions of the world. Now, when people are cooking outside and eating for themselves, it is binding them more and more. There is a lot of karmic reactions there. But when you do it for Krishna as yajna, then there is liberation. What a wonderful process. Isn't this a secret? If you are really serious about spiritual life and you want to become free, then this is an amazing secret that Krishna is sharing. He is saying that realign your intentions. What a wonderful thing it is. I mean, this is a kind of reinforcement for me. I'm thinking now, okay, in a day I'm doing so many actions, but how many are really intended towards pleasing Krishna? I have to realign myself more and more. You see? It's extremely important. But now, if you think that, okay, let me not do this work because it is boring, let me not do this work because it's going to bring a lot of bad effect and it is not pleasing, then by not doing your prescribed duty, niyatam karma, that itself will create another reaction. So it's not that only when you perform action there is reaction. But when you are supposed to do some action and you don't do, for that also there is a reaction. There was this Rakta Bijasura, a very dangerous asura, Rakta Bijasura. So his blood had a special potency. Wherever one drop of his blood falls onto the ground, that drop of blood will create many thousands of many more asuras. That was a special potency that he had. Rakta Bijasura. So what happens is, when you want to avoid one karma, that will give rise to another many karmas. So we should do our prescribed duty without fail. Extremely important. And when you do like that, when you perform yajna, you will become liberated not after death, even while living in this world. As you are living this your own very life, as Vinodji, as Achyutanji, as Dev, you will start experiencing bliss, that liberation right here within this lifetime. You will not get bound. Just like, sometimes when the Prime Minister of India, he comes to your city, all the roads are unblocked for him. The traffic and everything is stopped for the Prime Minister, and he goes smoothly and very swiftly. You must have seen sometimes the ministers come. Everything is on still, right? Why the Prime Minister is given so much of importance? Why there is no restrictions of traffic laws on him? Why? Because he has taken a certain bigger responsibility for all of us, right? He is serving the nation. So that's why the traffic laws do not apply to him. But similarly, if I try to do that same thing and I try to break the traffic light, the signal, I will be caught and I will be fined. So same principle here also. When you are doing actions for the pleasure of Krishna, you are actually transacting. You are doing transactions at a spiritual level, at a higher level. And that's why they don't bind you. So why transact in an ordinary material way? Why not transact in a transcendental way to please Krishna? So very beautiful explanation and secret that Krishna is saying, that this is a sure short way of becoming free. by performing our own prescribed duty. Right? So this is what Krishna is explaining in this 9th verse. So let's understand what is he going to say in the 3rd verse, that is today's 3rd verse, and that is 3.10. Dave, you can unmute yourself and let's chant this sloka together. Saha yagna praja srishtva puro vacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam esha vostva ishtakamadhu. Once again, saha yagna praja srishtva puro vacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam esha vostva ishtakamadhu. Wonderful translation. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna," sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things. Yeah, I think there is a translation difference there, but anyway. Alright, thank you so much. So, Krishna is saying that here in this verse, Saha yagna praja srishtva puro vacha prajapatihi. So, prajapatihi also refers to Brahma, because Brahma is the secondary creator of this universe. What do I mean by secondary creator? Just before starting this session, Hina Mataji had a question that about Vishnu. So, Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the primary cause of this creation, and then from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, his navel, the Hiranyagarbha, comes the lotus flower from which emanates the Brahma, the four-headed Brahma. So this four-headed Brahma, Chaturmukhi Brahma, it is by his tapasya, by pleasing Lord Vishnu, he gets this transcendental knowledge within his heart. The very first shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam says this, that how Brahma receives knowledge within his heart from Lord Vishnu. So Brahma receives this knowledge from within his heart, and then Brahma says, "Oh my Lord, this is bewildering. Please don't give me this responsibility." Can you imagine? The Brahma is the topmost. It is the topmost position in this whole material universe. And Brahma is saying, "My Lord, I don't want to be the creator, because this creation is a big headache. I mean, I cannot take care of this whole thing. I mean, it's beyond my capacity." Brahma is saying this. And here we are trying to master and control everything in our surroundings. But Brahma is saying, "I cannot manage. I cannot create." Then Vishnu says, "Don't worry, I am there. I'll be there for you. But you take this advantage of service. Do this as a service to me. And all the strength and knowledge will come to you." So, then Brahma becomes the Prajapati. So one way some Acharyas have said that in this particular shloka, when Prajapati is mentioned, it refers to Brahma. But it is also important to know that this Prajapati actually refers to Vishnu, because Vishnu is the primary Prajapati. He is the primary creator of everything that exists. Right? So, Patihi, very interesting word. Pati means one who is the creator of everything, one who can control everything. It is said, Vedeshcha sarver aham eva vedya. Krishna is going to say that. And also the Vedas say, Patim Vishwasyameshwaram. Which means that Vishnu is the ultimate cause, he is the ultimate supreme pati of everybody, including us. He is the only enjoyer. And Shukadeva Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam has very beautifully explained one sloka describing Pati. He says that Shriyapatir Yagnapati Prajapatir Dhyam Patir Lokapatir Dharapati Patir Gatish Chandaka Vrishni Satvatam Prasidata Me Bhagavan Sadam Pati. So you see, so nicely in a rhyming way, Shukadeva Goswami is saying that how Lord Vishnu is the Pati, controller of all the worlds and all the living entities. And when you do your actions for this Pati, Supreme Pati of everyone, then you can fulfill your desires. Why people are doing yajnas, you know? People do yajnas because they can fulfill their desires. Every desire. Ishta kama dukh. In this verse it is said, Yeshot swam ishta kama dukh. If you want to fulfill your desires, then you have to perform yajna. Like Dasharath Maharaj. He performed Putra Kameshti Yajna. When he performed that yajna, he got Rama and all the other four sons, all the three sons along with Rama. Then there used to be Ashwamedha Yajna, there used to be Rajasuya Yajna, Yudhishthira Maharaj performed. So there are so many different yajnas. Anytime you have any specific desires, then you can perform the yajna. Like for example, when in Krishna Leela, when they wanted rain, the Brajavasis wanted rain, they wanted to perform yajna for Indra. So there are so many yajnas mentioned in the scriptures for specific desires. We have so many desires, and specific desires, there is a specific yajna to satisfy a particular devata, and you will get. But now, just like there are yajnas which can fulfill your desires, there used to be wish-fulfilling trees, wish-fulfilling cows, like Kamadhenu. Vashishta Muni had Kamadhenu, Nandini. Jamadagni Muni had Kamadhenu. Even he had a wish-fulfilling cow. And then there used to be Kalparikshas. Kalparikshas, generally coconut trees these days are called Kalparikshas, but actually Kalparikshas are there in the spiritual world. So, just like that, yajna is also wish-fulfilling. It gives you everything that you desire. So you have to perform yajna. How do we perform yajna? It's a big question, right? We are not brahmanas. Even if there are brahmanas, we call some people and try to do. Then there is so much of money involved. First of all, the right kind of ingredients that we need are not available. In fact, yajnas cannot be performed in this Kali Yuga. The kind of yajnas that were done in Treta Yuga. Because yajna means so much of ghee is required. Do we have so much of ghee? We don't have so much of ghee today. Because we are killing animals, we are killing cows. So yajnas means so much of ghee is required and so many other paraphernalia is required, which we don't get. And even if we get all the items, we don't have qualified brahmanas. Because earlier, brahmanas were so qualified just by chanting of the mantras, they used to ignite the fire. They never used any matchsticks and then ignite the fire like today's brahmanas, you know. When they want to do some yajna, they will take matchstick and then they will light the yajna fire. But that's not the case today, you know. In earlier Treta Yuga, the brahmanas, just by chanting the mantras, they used to perform so many beautiful yajnas. So we don't have qualified brahmanas. So what do we do? Krishna is saying to perform yajna, but what do we do to perform yajna? That's why. He is so merciful. Our Shastras are, Krishna is so merciful. He said that in Kali Yuga you can also perform yajna. And what is yajna for you? The yajna is Nama Sankirtana, Sankirtan yajna, Japa yajna. That's the most easiest way of performing yajna. What to do? Just vibrate your tongue and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So simple. Japa yajna. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. In Kali Yuga, anybody who is chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he is Sumedasaha. He is the most intelligent person. So all of you are very intelligent people because you are chanting Hare Krishna. Just see, this is the topmost yajna. What more than this we want? Just chant Hare Krishna mantra every single day. By doing so, you are doing your yajna. And if you can do 16 rounds every single day as prescribed by the Acharya, what an amazing thing it is. Everything you will get. Chanting is our Kamaduk. Chanting is very, very wish fulfilling. It is Chintamani. That's why it is called Nama Chintamani. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatva Nama Naminaha. So it is Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto. It will make you completely purified and it will mukta. It will liberate you. So wonderful. So please, if you have not already started chanting, please start chanting every single day seriously, because this is your yajna. Kali Yuga, there is no other way. And it cannot be simpler than this. It cannot be simpler than chanting. Just vibrate your tongue and chant the holy name. And it can be done in a fun way. You know, it is so nice that you can do Sankirtan in a very nice way. Japa yajna is one thing, but Sankirtan is with a musical instrument, you sing and you dance. Oh, what a blissful thing it is. Actually, one of my main attractions towards spirituality was Sankirtan. And just being in the Sankirtan, singing and dancing with the devotees, I think that was my hook. More than anything, I think this was one major reason which propelled me towards spirituality. Because music is such a wonderful thing, it liberates your mind, it makes you free. And especially when you're chanting Hare Krishna mantra, it's an amazing experience. Sometimes when you get a chance to go to the nearby ISKCON temples, and if there is Sankirtan happening, just sit there and nicely do Sankirtan. So, if you have any questions, you can please ask me. There is some vendor going by, passing by, I think he's making some noise. Alright. Yes, brother. Okay. Yes, as much as it is given now in the Bhagavad Gita, shlokas, if you can practice chanting Bhagavad Gita slokas, that much will be really more than enough for us. And already in Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada has given the word-to-word meaning and the translations are given, the purports are given. So, there was a devotee who asked a very similar question to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said that yes, Sanskrit learning can help, but it is not important. If we have learned Sanskrit from our childhood, then yes, it will be really a great asset for us to understand Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam even more in depth. But it is also not very necessary, because if you have to invest a lot of time now to learn Sanskrit, it is not recommended. I will definitely not recommend. Even Prabhupada has not recommended. The main thing is you can understand from the devotees the practical application of what the shlokas are saying. If you can understand the practical application of Bhagavad Gita and start imbibing those qualities and instructions in your life, that is what makes a lot of difference. Because there are so many great scholars. I'm telling you, Mataji, just I think a couple of years back, both Aradhana and I, we had gone to Udupi to attend a conference. And this conference was all about big scholars coming and speaking on different aspects of philosophy and many things related to our culture. And there are a lot of great topics they talk also. But there are so many people who speak in Sanskrit, but then they really do not understand the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. They speak Sanskrit, their way of speaking, the mode of communication is Sanskrit, but they do not understand the motive, the intentions of Krishna. So just becoming a Pandita in Sanskrit will not really help. If you become a devotee of Krishna is what really matters. So I think it is important that we can understand Sanskrit to whatever best capacity you can, but do not overburden yourself and think that, oh yeah, I don't know Sanskrit, so I will not be able to understand the scriptures. No, it is okay, it's perfectly fine. Just by listening to Prabhupada lectures and reading Prabhupada's books, whatever little Sanskrit you know, that is more than enough. And I have not attended any Sanskrit classes. Neither have studied Sanskrit in my school. Whatever little Sanskrit I know, it's all by reading Prabhupada's books, and I'm just repeating what Prabhupada has said, and this should be more than enough. Yes, Hare Krishna. So let's see if there are any more questions. So Vinodji is asking, can we do the 16 jap any time of the day? Absolutely. This 16 mala, it will take about at least 2 hours. You know, when we chant, it takes about 1 hour 45 minutes at least, minimum. So if you take 2 hours, ideally it is done in the morning, because that's the Brahma Muhurta time, and you are spiritually quite active during the morning, daytime, the Brahma Muhurta time. So you can try to do that. But then, if you are not able to do it at stretch, 2 hours, then you can break it in parts. You can do it 4 rounds, 4 rounds, 4 rounds, or you can do it in 8 rounds, and second half again you can do 8 rounds. So as per your convenience you can do it. But yes, if you can come to the state of chanting 16 rounds every single day, nothing like that. It's amazing. And you can see the kind of that spiritual energy, that potency flowing within you, especially when you do it at a stretch, early morning, that experience is blissful. I had shared that audio file of Prabhupada, where Prabhupada is chanting with the background music. You can just play that, you can just chant along with Prabhupada for 1.5 hours or 2 hours, whatever time permits, then that will be an amazing thing. It's a great investment that you can do. But 16 rounds, if you can come to that state, amazing. Gradually you can increase. This month you can chant 2 rounds. Next month you can increase 2 more rounds and chant 4 rounds. So like that, gradually over a period of time, maybe say 1 year, you can come to the state of chanting 16 rounds. So that will be really very nice. Consistently chanting 16 rounds. So Prabhupada says, if anybody chants 16 rounds, I will take him back to home, back to God. Prabhupada says that. And he says that if anybody doesn't chant 16 rounds, then he is not even a human being. So minimum 16 rounds is very important. But to gradually now start with 1 round and then increase your rounds as time permits. Very important. And you can do it anytime during the day. Absolutely no problem. In fact, you can chant even without taking bath. See, that's the potency of this Mahamantra. If you can take bath, well and good. But if you are not able to take bath, then you can still chant Hare Krishna mantra. There is no Desha, Kala, Patra, no such restrictions on the Hare Krishna mantra. Absolutely no. And then Dev is asking, can I chant the mantra while studying? Which means my focus will not be completely on the mantra. I mean, you can listen to the mantra while you're studying if you want to, but you cannot be chanting the mantra and then study, because it will not be really helpful for you. You will not be focused. You should give exclusive time to Krishna. If I invite you home and then I really don't give you exclusive time, I'm busy doing my own studies, or if I'm busy doing my cooking, and you have come and then I don't give you any time, then you will feel bad as a guest. So when you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, the Krishna, Abhinnatva Namanamina, the name, the sound Krishna and Krishna is not different. So Krishna is actually coming to you, he's dancing on your tongue. So at that time, if you are giving your attention to your studies or you are giving attention to something else, then Krishna will not like it. He is coming as a guest. He is also a person. Krishna is the Supreme Person. He has feelings. So you should give exclusive time to Krishna. But yes, after giving that exclusive time, any additional thing, like while cooking you can chant, while studying or maybe anything else that you are doing, you can keep chanting Krishna's name. That is additional thing. But exclusive time in a day you should give. When I say exclusive time, it means chanting on the mala, chanting on the beats. Very important. Yes. You can take any comfortable position. Either you can sit on the floor, you can sit on the chair, or you can even walk and do it. So japa can be done without any such inconveniences to your body. So feel comfortable in whatever way you can, and then you can chant. Main thing of chanting is hearing the sound vibration. Listening to your own sound vibration of Hare Krishna mantra is the most important aspect of chanting. Chant and hear, chant and hear. Now it really doesn't matter whether you're walking or sitting. What really matters is how much of that mantra is being taken inside through your ears. That's the most important. Because when the sound vibration enters through the ears, it will start acting on the heart and the mind, both. It will purify both the mind and the heart. So that's why hearing is the most important thing. Attentively hearing the sound. Now it's a big science. Now it may just sound very simple, but this yagna, although very simple, there are a lot of technicalities involved, which we will discuss again going forward, because it is Krishna coming to you. I mean, you have to be so careful, and you have to be paying full attention to Krishna. If Prime Minister Modi comes to your home, I mean, by the time he enters your home and by the time he leaves, you are so focused, you are taking care of every single detail, every move you are noticing, because you know what can I do next, what I can do next. You are so careful because you know his importance, right? When he needs water, when he needs milk, when can I give him something to eat? When he needs the napkin to wipe his hands, all these details you take care because you are fully focused. So similarly, Krishna is the Prime Minister of the whole universe. You are chanting and he is coming. So all these details are there. We will discuss going forward in depth, so that we can understand this chanting process. It's a big science, So thank you so much once again, all of you, and keep chanting and do your yagna every single day.